My name is Mary, and we're very happy to be hosting this program tonight. And very happy that our first selectman is here this evening, Mr. Berger. Thank you so much.
So thanks for inviting me, Bob. My presence here is only to show support. I know the least about solar than anyone in this room.
Oh, you know, I needed him here.
But what I do know is, as a member of the RTM for years, we've been approving solar projects for some of our municipal buildings. Oh, by the way, Christine Vitale, my select woman, is in the back. And David Becker, who's senior advisor to our SIP. So we're all here today showing support. We have approved many projects over the years. I was just told 40 municipal, projects in this town. But for the past several years, we've had a moratorium in some of our buildings, and we're going to ramp up to the extent we can with solar and other green energy solutions. And one of the issues we also face is resiliency. And so reading about this project got me very excited. I'm really here to learn, but I would really want to thank the members of Sustainable Fairfield who got me up to speed a bit, and Bob for bringing us all here together tonight. So thanks, Bill.
Thank you. So we want to welcome everybody in the audience, either in the Rotary Room or online. We're going to start with a little cartoon just to get us rolling. So take it away, Philip.
If you lived in Connecticut in 2011, you probably remember the October ice storm that knocked out power across the state for multiple days. There's nothing like being in the dark without heat or hot showers to get you thinking about a backup system. Well, you're in luck. Incentives from the federal government and state are making battery storage systems more financially attractive. Unlike gasoline-powered generators, a home battery system requires no setup when you lose power, has no risk of carbon monoxide poisoning, is quieter, and does not emit greenhouse gases. Battery storage systems can also strengthen the grid by increasing cost effectiveness, resiliency, and equity. When utility customers install battery systems, all Connecticut residents benefit.
Gosh, I'd love to know how that works.
Home battery systems will store energy from the grid and discharge it when energy flow from the grid weakens or stops, allowing you to continue to power some of your most critical appliances. The battery storage systems on the market today have capacities of between 10 and 39 kilowatt hours and can provide power to essential home systems for many hours or even days, depending on use. When paired with solar, battery systems become even more effective. They can store the extra energy produced by your array when the power is out, and your solar array can continue to charge your battery backup, providing power throughout a blackout. The Solar Plus battery installation keeps your power on by islanding or disconnecting itself from the grid when an outage is detected.
It does seem like a great idea, but I'm not sure that I can afford it.
Home batteries do cost thousands of dollars, but the good news is that federal and state incentives are available right now. If your battery has a capacity of at least 3 kilowatt hours and is installed in a home that you use as a residence, whether you are an owner or a renter, you can claim a 30% tax credit in the year in which it is installed. This residential clean energy property credit, Section 25D on your taxes, is good until the end of 2032, and then it will be phased out. There is no limit to the credit, but the credits are non-refundable and so can only be used to decrease or eliminate tax liability, though unused portions of the
Sorry about that.
credit may be carried forward in future years.
Okay, but you've mentioned something about a state program.
If you want to take advantage of the state of Connecticut rebates, you need to be an Eversource or United Illuminating customer and be willing to share your storage system with the grid. The program, called Energy Storage Solutions, provides an upfront incentive and a performance incentive. If you purchase and install qualifying systems, you will be eligible for a rebate up to $16,000. The standard incentive is up to $250 per kilowatt hour of battery capacity. However, customers who meet low income limits can receive higher incentives of $600 per kilowatt hour. And those who live in underserved communities now have access to incentives of up to $450 per kilowatt hour. Customers who live in areas with the highest number of outages, areas considered grid edge, are also eligible for higher incentives. These qualifying households earn 50% higher incentives. To see if you qualify for these incentive adders, visit the links on this page.
The performance incentive is received after each performance incentive season for the first 10 years, and it is based on the average power your system provides to the grid during critical times. Imagine that the electric company pays you.
So how do I share my system with a utility?
To participate in the program, you must allow your system to discharge evenly between 3 and 8 p.m. daily during summer and winter events. The utility will send your device a signal the day before and then discharge up to 80% of your battery over a period of 5 hours per day. No matter the time of year, they won't draw power from your battery 2 days before a predicted extreme weather event, so you'll be charged up and ready to go if the power goes out. To learn more, visit pacecleanenergy.org.
To help your town run a community battery storage campaign, email us at PowerSmart@smartpower.org.
No, that was.
So then I would like to introduce Bob Wall. He's Vice President of Solarize for Smart Power, the nation's leading marketing firm focused on energy efficiency and renewable energy. You hear us? Previously, he worked for nonprofits and quasi-governmental agencies where he managed nationally recognized community-based clean energy programs. In addition, Bob has served on various boards and committees, including the Connecticut Green Building Council, Greater Bridgeport Community Enterprises, and Sustainable Fairfield Task Force, of which he is the current chair. He received a Bachelor of Arts degree from Wesleyan University and a Juris Doctor degree from Fordham University School of Law. So I will turn it over to Bob.
Get full screen. Just give us a second. While we're waiting a second, I wanted to introduce my colleague, Patrice Gillespie from Smart Power. And we have some friends from Sustainable Fairfield. So in the front row, Larry Cayley, who is the original chair of our group. Mary Hogue, who needs no introduction, but gave one anyway. Behind her, a member of our Energy and Built Environment Committee, Vandan Devatia. And we have an alum here tonight in the form of Phil Leviev, one of the first battery owners in Fairfield, as I understand. Okay, and we have some special guests here from Trinity Solar on that side of the aisle, Lori Scala and her colleague Anthony, and I'm sorry, Anthony, there you go, straight from Anthony. So while you're looking at that, does anybody know what that picture is of?
Displays.
All right, you want to share with the class?
Isn't it up on what I refer to as the nature preserve for before the old land?
You're,
Oh, yeah.
both are correct. So that's
you
down
put it
off
up
Van Dam Road. It is a large ground-mounted system. It's over a megawatt, so it's huge. And that feeds into our transfer station and the complex there. It serves a number of buildings, and it's actually taken it off the grid together with some other technologies we have at those facilities. So this shot was taken by the son of our treasurer on Sustainable Fairfield, Ron Blumenfeld. Ron didn't take it, but his son did. And I just love it because it's showing this modern technology in the town we love.
Can I just ask, is the audio good for everybody? Everybody can hear? Yes.
We can't see the presentation any longer.
Can you use the microphone?
They can't see the
I
presentation.
know. We're trying to figure that out.
Sorry about
Give us
that.
just a
We're
minute.
working on it.
Yeah. Give us just one more
Anybody know any
second.
jokes? Okay. Yep.
I don't understand why it's not showing that here.
Well, it's showing, the problem is that, here, I'm gonna,
Does it have to go into the presentation mode or?
no, the problem is that when we do. There it is, okay. So when I do share screen,
Yeah.
They got it. What we're gonna be doing
There
is,
we go.
the problem now is that I can't go full screen. Because this, so the navigation for the Zoom is over top of the navigation for the power.
I see.
So I can't get into the orange navigation below the Zoom navigation in order to make it full screen.
Why don't you minimize or go out and try to go back in?
Okay,
so you'll be
I don't,
able to
oh, there it
Nice to
goes.
see you.
Wait,
filter it.
oh, there it goes. I'm so sorry. No, I don't ever do this.
They told the green bank.
You're doing good. I think you got it, right?
So that's a good thing.
So can,
And there's other good information.
Let's turn it back on.
So we will send you that.
can the folks on Zoom see the screen now?
Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
Okay, cool.
thank you.
So without further ado, let's begin. Just what a quick overview on what this campaign is, PowerSmart. It's a community-based campaign, very similar to the Solarize campaigns that we've run in Fairfield a number of times. It'll run for approximately 20 weeks. And in this instance, we're going to be promoting residential battery storage plus solar. So whether you already have solar or don't have it, this program could work for you. And when we say residential, there was a change recently, and this now includes multifamily housing. So I don't know if we have any members of that community in our audience, but if you know anybody that owns multifamily properties, they could take part in this. And although we'll be discussing programs from a residential standpoint, the same programs exist for commercial customers. So the town itself can take advantage, or a business or a nonprofit. These programs serve both residential and commercial. And we are funded in whole by the U.S. Department of Energy. This is a grant program. It's being led by Yale and NYU to study the adoption of solar and advanced technologies. Here in Connecticut, the focus is on battery storage. And Fairfield is one of 28 towns that will be participating in the program across the state. How come we're not advancing? Bear with us once again. Oh, do I have to do that?
There you
Okay.
go. Yeah.
All right, so just wanted to begin with kind of a testimonial on screen from one of our Fairfield residents. This is from Lee Overland, who is an architect, and Lee built a house on Shoreham Drive, and he is a big fan of a lot of technologies, for green architecture. But he says, as electricity and fuel become more expensive and power outages become more common, having solar and battery backup is critical. Keep the lights on when the grid goes down. Solar technology enables us to live independent of gas and oil. So how many people here already have solar at their home? Wow, that's a good showing. So many of you probably joined when the program was offered through the Connecticut Green Bank. Starting in 2022, the solar program was passed over to the two electric utilities, UI and Eversource. We have over 50,000 residential systems, and as the first selectman mentioned, just about 40 on municipal buildings here in Fairfield, as well as some commercial properties. right within a stone's throw of here. And unlike the old program, there's no upfront incentive anymore. That was phased out. But is a net metering incentive that's still available. It's different from the one most of you probably have. And we'll explain that in a minute or two. So I probably am speaking to the choir here about the benefits of solar, but just some of the key benefits are cost savings. If you put solar on your house, your utility bills will be lower and you'll protect yourself against future rate increases. Study after study has shown that the value of your home will increase. If you have two identical homes side by side, one of them has solar, guess which one is going to be more valuable on the resale market? Solar. And last but not least, you can help the environment. The grid that most of us operate off of has greenhouse gases and other toxic emissions. So solar has none of that. And also you can help reduce water consumption that's associated with those power plants. And the question is, is your house right for solar? There are really three key criteria. One is the orientation. If your house, the roofs face south, east, or west, or any combination of that, you would be a good candidate, or you could be a good candidate for solar. Sadly, my own house faces north, and I'm surrounded by the beautiful tall trees that create a lot of shade, which is our second factor. Obviously, you want to have a lot of sunlight hitting those roofs. So if you have trees like I do, like many of us do, or chimneys or roof sections, you may not be suitable for solar, but if you're relatively shade-free, you should be okay. And an installer can confirm the viability of your house. The last key matter is the condition of your roof. Ideally, you want it to be under 10 years. And the reason for that is you don't want to have to take the panels off when it's time to replace the shingles in your house. So as long as they're in good shape, we were at a town where somebody had a 50-year warranty for their roof and it was over 10 years. And I said, well, in your case, you should be good. 50 years is a long time. Oops, I went too fast there. So this is just to give you an idea of the average cost of solar in Connecticut these days. Online, the ranges were from $275 per watt to $320 per watt. And most solar systems, if you talk to an installer, are sold in terms of kilowatts. So you would multiply that by 1,000 to convert it to kilowatts. And then the size of your system, let's say it's 10 kilowatts, you would multiply that number by 10. And the table below, probably too small for even the front row to read, gives you an idea of the cost to begin with, but it's important to note that there is a 30% federal tax credit. And this was re-upped 2 years ago under the Inflation Reduction Act and extended to 2032. So that is a great incentive to help you to go solar and afford solar. Do you have a question?
30% is 30% of your installation price?
The original cost. So let's, I'll just get
Federal tax credit, but 30% why?
the cost of your system. So in this example, there's a 10 kilowatt system, let's say, and that's close, maybe a little higher than the state average, somewhere between 8 and 10, I think. Lori, does that sound about right? So in this example, they're estimating that a 10 kW system would cost up front $28,000, but
To install.
So the cost of the equipment, the permits, the fees, everything, $28,000, and you would take 30% off as your tax credit in the year it's installed. If you can't use it all up, it rolls over until you've exhausted the tax credit. So in this example, the real cost after the tax credit drops to $19,600. But again, it sort of depends on the size of your roof and how much electricity you use to figure out the right size of your system. So now we're going to move on to battery storage systems, and people act as if batteries are something new in our lives, but if you think about it, we use batteries in our daily lives from the minute we get up and brush our teeth, to checking our cell phones, our laptops. Some of us drive electric vehicles, some of us mow our lawns with electric equipment, and hopefully one day all of Fairfield will be using electric lawn mowers and electric leaf blowers in particular. But just to show that batteries are ubiquitous, and it's only recently that they've been used to power a house in the event of a blackout or something like that. But they work very well, and we'll get into that in a moment. So just as with solar, there are numerous benefits, depends on your points of view on what's important to you, but they can serve as a backup power source when the grid goes down, which it seems to happen more frequently these days. Patrice, do you want to mention your experience in neighboring Wilton?
Well, I'm fine about it to several of you already, but a few years ago, I think it was 2 years in a row, we lost power in 8 days. And one was in October and one was in August, so it wasn't, bitter cold. But, everybody around me, my neighborhood has diesel generators. And it was unnerving to go outside and hear, night and day. It was just, I wanted to go away. And also, our whole neighborhood smelled like a truck stop, with the fumes. So that's consideration for air pollution. My father passed away from asthma, so, very sensitive to fumes. Yeah, so these are quiet and they don't smell at all.
Thank you. And as the little preview commercial told us, you can earn money from your battery system by sharing the stored power with the grid on the critical days of the summer when the whole grid needs more power, because of air conditioners and other things. Also, unlike just having a solar system, this allows you to use clean energy when the sun goes down. You store it in your system and then you could draw upon it at night. So some people, that's important to some people, they want to be as clean as possible. And similarly with that grid situation, under normal circumstances before batteries came into being, they would buy power from so-called peaker plants, which are typically oil or gas, and very dirty and very expensive. So you're helping to clean the grid and you're helping to reduce the costs to all ratepayers who can avoid the high costs of the peaker plants, because we're getting less expensive energy from the battery storage systems across the state. And I just wanted to mention that the residential side of the program has been a little slow taking off, but the commercial side is going gangbusters. So if the businesses are attuned to this, that's kind of a vote of confidence that this works well and they're making money off these systems. And last but not least, some people have critical medical devices that you want to have running. So this can provide that assurance that, they won't run out if the power goes down. So there are a couple ways, if you buy solar, you have a couple choices here. The first is you could just buy it outright, meaning you pay all the cash, you're forgoing the state incentives that we'll be talking about in a minute, but you're still entitled to the 30% federal tax credit. You're free to choose any licensed contractor and any make of battery. And you don't have to share it with the grid. You can use the power as however you want. So the second alternative is under a new state program. I'm really proud of the fact that Connecticut is at the forefront of the country in providing incentives for battery storage systems. So under this program, there's the upfront incentive, again, from the commercial. And what's really exciting is in December, the regulatory agency issued a ruling that increased the incentives quite a bit on that table on the right side, particularly for low income families. So low income is not just kind of poorer people, but also seniors on fixed incomes. So we'll show some cost examples later on, but with that $600 incentive, and even more if you happen to live on grid edge, it really helps to pay for the system. Then you get the 30% tax credit, just as you would if you bought it outright. And finally, you earn money from selling it to UI under agreed terms throughout most of the summer and a few days in the winter. They promise that they will not draw on the system if there's a storm forecasted, because you might need the backup power for your house. And you have an option too, if there's an active dispatch, you can opt out of it. So the key thing, if you want to enroll in the Energy Storage Solutions Program, you must use an approved contractor and an approved battery type. These are both open admission processes. So if you know of a contractor you want to work with and they're not on the list, it's pretty easy for them to get on. A little bit more challenging for the manufacturers, but I know we're trying to reel in the big kahuna in the state, which is Tesla, because that's the one battery that everybody seems to know. And I think, Phil, that was your battery of choice. Yes. So common question is, what size battery do you need for your house? And the answer, unfortunately, is it depends. Really what you want to use the backup for. I would say most commonly people want to be able to turn their lights on, their refrigerators so your food doesn't spoil, and outlets to charge devices and other important things. Probably want to avoid things like a clothes dryer or even central air, because those are energy hogs and that will use up the battery. Here in Fairfield, especially the recent weeks, you want to make sure your sump pump is running. I know mine in the basement, it's been cranking many a day this winter. So this can help ensure that that doesn't go out and you don't get flooding in your basement. And you may have other individual needs for your house. And what I recommend is talk to a contractor. They can do the math and estimate what size battery you need to be able to power the devices in your house. You also want to consider how long the backup power needs to run. If you have solar and the sun is shining, it will continue to recharge day after day. Unlike if you had a conventional generator and let's say the supply lines were down and you couldn't get gas or propane, your generator isn't going to do much good when the tank is empty. But solar can help it run day after day. So when we started our campaign last year, there were only 3 brands of batteries that were approved. And I'm pleased to say that that number has grown to 10, and it's actually more than 10 because some of these manufacturers have multiple models. And again, the Green Bank is working diligently to bring Tesla into the program and others like LG. So this is part of PURA's ruling in December. PURA is the regulatory agency. So they're trying to bring in more brands to provide more consumer options to everybody and give them the brand that they want to use. I mentioned grid edge earlier, and that's kind of a new term, but many of us have experienced what goes into the name of a grid edge, and that's if you've had power outages over the past decade or long power outages. This is the top % of electric circuits in Connecticut that have experienced those outages. And we did a kind of a close-up of the map of Fairfield. So you can see the red lines, particularly on the kind of the north central and south central beach area. There's a lot of areas in Fairfield that are deemed grid edge. And the importance to you on this is that it elevates your incentives to 50% of the standard rates. So it really bumps it up. And as we said, you can get up to 16,000 off of the cost of the system. So the easy way to find out if you qualify is to go to that link, and we'll provide this or we'll put this on the website to make it easy, because there's a lot of links in here and I don't want people trying to take notes of these incredibly long URLs. But it's a tool you can get online to figure out if you live in a grid edge circuit. So the average cost of storage, it depends again on the size. The examples that we're going to present use an upfront cost of about $21,000 for a small system and $35,000 for a large system. believe it or not, unlike a lot of products that, where the trend is to go down in cost, since COVID, some of these numbers have gone up because of supply chain shortages and other material shortages, but hopefully they will be coming down again soon. But this is just to give you a ballpark that these are not cheap devices, but with the incentives and the tax credit, as you'll see in a minute, it becomes more affordable. And the idea really is to put these on a rough par with conventional generators. So this is the example for what's deemed a small battery system, starting at 21,000. You see that the size is expressed both in kilowatts and kilowatt hours, which is, has to do with the capacity and the power capabilities of the system. And so the first incentive is based on the kilowatt hours. So in this case, it's 13. You multiply that by the incentive amount, depending on which category. There's the standard rate of 250, the grid edge, which is 50% higher at 375, and the low income is 600. And if you're low income and grid edge, then it jumps to 900. So, shows you that that comes right off the top of the cost, and you apply the tax credit to the net cost. So you can reduce several thousand more from that. And then the final dark green line, or the second to the last dark green line, tells you what you could expect to get from the performance incentive, sharing your power with the grid. And this makes some assumptions, which are in the footnote, but roughly 6,000 and change over a 10-year period. Yes, sir.
What's PBI?
Performance benefit incentive. So basically, that's what you get paid twice a year by UI in exchange for sharing your power, a certain part of your power during certain days of the year. And that lowers the overall cost to 6,000 and change for a standard customer. If you're grid edge, it drops to 5,000, and for low income, it's only about 3,000. And it's going to be kind of mind blowing when we go to the larger system and you see that the numbers are comparable, or in the case of low income, even as low as $1,000 is your net cost at the end of 10 years. So it's the same principles. You get the upfront incentive, the 30% tax credit, and the performance incentive, which is paid out over 10 years. And like the expression, your mileage may vary depending on how much you allow the grid to purchase. You might get more or less than this amount. This assumes 90% participation. And we got these examples from the Green Bank, which tends to be conservative in their materials. So I wanted to just quickly cover a few payment options. And I used to have separate slides for solar and storage, and I realized that they were more or less the same. You have the option of just purchasing with cash if you happen to have the cash sitting around, and that's obviously the best value. You get the greatest payback from that, but not everybody can fork over 20, 30, 40,000 for these systems, before tax credits and incentives. So what's become very popular these days are several financing options. The first is a loan, and like the cash purchase, you own the system, you get the tax credit, and you get all the incentives directly to you. One popular loan is offered by the Green Bank. It's the Smarty loan, but every installer works with different lenders. You can even get home equity loans, and you can figure out what's the most favorable terms for you and your needs. And then finally, there's another popular method, which is lease or power purchase agreement. And unlike the two above it, there's a third-party owner that actually owns the system. Because they're the owner, they get the incentives and tax credits and kind of return that to you. It's baked into the cake, which determines your payments to them. So they'll make the reductions for you, but technically they own the system. And one of the benefits is they agree to take care of the system over the lifespan. So there are some positives. So some examples are Trinity, who's in the room tonight, Posigen, Sunrun, and others, but you can ask your installer what the financing options are. and figure out what works for you. I put a link to an article in here. It gets into the pros and cons of each method of paying. So I recommend people take a look at that. It's very helpful. And also, if you have a third-party owner, they may be able to take advantage of some special provisions in the IRA that can increase your tax incentive from the standard 30% to as much as 60%. If you're a low-income customer, some of the other ones don't necessarily apply to Fairfield, but they do in Bridgeport, which is another city that we're working with. But it's worth talking to the third-party owner model to find out whether there are additional tax incentives. And finding a contractor, as with any home improvement project, we recommend you get multiple quotes and references from those companies. And if you are interested in getting a battery, you have to use somebody who's on the list of Energy Storage Solutions eligible contractors. And fortunately, that list contains most of the leading installers in the state, including Trinity and many, many others that you've heard of, probably the ones you've worked with. Most of them are on it. If you're not planning to get battery storage, you're not wedded to that list. You can work with any contractor you choose. Another cool feature is a website called Energy Sage, or offered by Energy Sage. It's basically a online platform where you can obtain free, no obligation quotes. You just enter your name, your address, and a few other details, and they will send multiple quotes. So at least it's a start. You don't have to do as much legwork, and you're not obligated to use any of them, but it gives you a basis of what's the ballpark of the project for your house. And last but not least, you can ask a friend who has solar or storage, who did you use? Did you like working with them? Questions like that. So there are a lot of different ways to skin this cat, and these are some of them. So I mentioned the website. Again, we use that glorious drone shot of the former landfill. And this is kind of just a website created for Fairfield, PowerSmart Fairfield. All the other towns in our campaigns have their own customized website. You can find out if solar and storage is right for you by clicking on that section where the line is drawn. And someone from Smart Power or a technical consultant to us will get back to you and try to answer questions and help you along the way. It will also list events like this. I should make a plug for the next event, which is coming on February 22nd. In the evening, it's a special virtual event led by the Connecticut Green Bank, and they're going to talk in more detail about all the changes to the program pursuant to that PURA decision in December. There's also testimonials, articles, and other resources where you can learn about solar or battery storage on that page. So I invite people to check it out. It's PowerSmartFairfield.we with 2 E's.green. And these are some important links. I'm not going to read them, but there's FAQs on solar and a contact at the actual program administrator. So if you want to talk to somebody at UI who runs the solar program, there's the email. You can always email us as well for neutral advice on things. And did I miss one? I think I did. Yes, this is the similar page for batteries. It's another FAQ. Some of the program highlights are linked here. And this is an email for the Green Bank. They can answer questions about the battery program, Energy Storage Solutions. So these are the emails for Patrice and me. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to my good friend, Lori Scala, who's here to talk about an exciting opportunity special for Fairfield residents.
Anthony.
I have to
So you just
stop the screen share and turn the camera. Folks at home can see you.
Okay.
Want to stand in front of the laptop.
Okay, and you have my slides from here.
We're working some things out up here. Just advance.
So we need to screen share
Just the
again.
next slide.
Yeah. Sorry, folks, we need to screen share again. I'm sorry.
think it should just be the next slide.
I know, but I stopped. Okay. Beginning, it's gonna be from the beginning. To the bottom. Last three.
We'll be up and running momentarily.
That's all right.
We just hit the
I
arrow.
thought we were done with the screen share. Do you want to go ahead? We had, because it went back to the.
Just go down to where we were. So,
And one of them,
And then, can you go down to the next one?
a one pager published by the Rebank. That explains about the program.
All right, so, okay, so if you want to, it's not on there. Let me get it onto the screen.
You know,
You
it's,
should maybe, or no,
Bob
no,
has said
it
in
says
the past
this doesn't happen last
um,
time. It's all right.
solar.
Well, you work
program,
on it.
the tagline is Solar, simple, together. And it was recognized when Yale and the Department of Energy embarked on this program with us, so. we
Thank
think
you.
there's more decisions to be made and different technologies. So, you know, but, you know, we're really up this.
But now I have to get back to screen sharing. There, oh, it's on now. That's good. That's good.
Okay, we're gonna stay right there. And I just wanna thank everybody for coming here and thank you, Bob and Patrice, for letting me be a part of this program. I started working with Trinity Solar about 5 years ago, and I was hired to head up the community outreach program, which lets me sleep really great at night because all I do is educate people on solar for their homes, and I give back to nonprofit organizations. My first partner that I signed up was Operation Hope because when we got flooded in Sandy, I went to Operation Hope and they helped me out. So I wanted to give back. So Trinity put together a program where all we do is educate homeowners on all of their different options, whether you want to go with the no cost PPA, cash purchase. Somebody like Anthony will come to your house, he'll look at your property and he'll give you all of the numbers that you need for your specific property. Just for doing that, Trinity writes a check to Operation Hope for $100 because they helped us make the connection. Whether you go solar or not through this program, we're giving you an education and Operation Hope helped us make that connection, so they're getting $100. But if you like what you hear and you end up moving forward and having solar installed, then we give Operation Hope a check for $1,000. So they're getting $1,100 for every homeowner that goes solar through our combined efforts. So we do all sorts of stuff in the community to kind of share that information. We don't tell you you have to use Trinity, but we ask you just to sit down, have that conversation and give us a chance, let us explain how it all works. So Bob gave us so much information here and it's very difficult to digest if you're not looking at your own utility bill, your own roof and everything that's involved in moving forward with solar. So that's why Anthony comes to your house. He becomes your friend. He explains step by step exactly what happens. Trinity's installed over 100,000 residential systems to date, and we've been in business since 1994. We are all over the Northeast, and we are the #1 largest privately owned solar company in the nation. So we know what we're doing and they're there to help you. So I don't know if Anthony has something he wants to add to this, but we do have the sign-up sheets. If you're interested in learning about solar for your home or for your multifamily or for your condos or whatever, we're happy to help you with that.
I have something small to add. Hey, everybody. If I do come to your home, it is very much a conversation. There are many larger forces at work. There's the state, there's the city, there's your utility company, and then there's the physical properties of your home, the pitch of your roof, where the composite sits, the tree coverage. I listen, we answer questions, and I give you all the data for your home specific to you, and you get to make that value judgment as to whether or not or how you want to proceed. I very much like being able to do business with people. And this is a mission for us at this company. We want to be able to be in business by helping others and what we think is right for the environment. It's a good mission. So thank you.
Yeah. One more thing, we had mentioned the roofing program. If your roof needs to be replaced within 10 years, not to move forward. Trinity found that we were bumping into a lot of that. A lot of people need new roofs, so we have a roofing program and that can all be tied into the same project.
One thing that I'm pretty sure is correct. The solar panels do extend the life of the roof because they are protecting it
Right.
from the elements.
Yes.
The thing that kills an asphalt shingle is UV rays. So wherever your solar panels are covered, it will extend the life of that shit. That's correct. Yeah,
Can you install solar panels on a flat roof, like a garage roof, for example?
there are solar companies that will, but our company will not. The liability or the likelihood of leaking is too great for us to do that. We will do up and,
What's going to?
so because it might not leak for us, for our company, we won't install on flat roofs. There are many solar companies that do it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to introduce any kind of fear.
No, no,
Just
I-
my
I
company
didn't- I
doesn't do
didn't
that.
Understand what would be leaking where, the panels would be leaking?
With the way we install is we lag bolts into your rafters.
Oh, I
Nothing
understand.
leaks.
Now I
There's,
understand. Yeah, so you'd be leaking.
there are companies that do it very safely and very securely. We're just not one. But yes, flat roofs are okay. And you can see that on a lot of the municipal buildings around.
Yeah, all the schools have flat roofs.
Yeah,
And there's.
it's totally
never been a
honest.
single leak.
Yeah, there's,
So we'll open up to any questions, either for Trinity or for Smart Power about solar storage, and if I can't answer, I'm gonna ask Phil.
I have a question on your batteries. How long are they good for?
Well, to be eligible for the program, they have a minimum warranty of 10 years. So my understanding is 15 to 20 is probably normal, but they could go on longer than that. I don't really know, but you guys do batteries.
we do batteries. So a typical battery is warranted, depending on your installer or the battery, is anywhere between 10 and 25 years. During that warranty period, and again, depending on who you use, they'll just replace that battery during the warranty period.
They supposedly you may get no additional cost.
It all depends on the installer, the terms of the warranty, but that's how we operate, yes.
I got it from you.
Right.
Already went that in 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Yep, covered 100%.
Come in, you take it out, that's it. I don't have to sweat it.
That's correct, and it's all contractually obligated. We take care
How
of it.
that big are the batteries?
How big are the batteries?
Yeah.
It all depends, but typically one battery. Let's see something I can compare this to. About this high, about this wide. About this deep.
Some of them are as tall as a refrigerator, but they're much shallower.
Slender.
What was the kilowatt size you described?
So we do a Tesla Powerwall 2 is the product that we use. Yep, 13 and a half. And you could stack them.
Technology battery, AGM, lithium ion. What kind of batteries?
Lithium ion.
Yeah, currently
Lithium
all-
ion.
All the batteries are lithium
Yeah.
ion, but it may change in the future.
Right.
There are other technologies.
Right.
How about the safety factor?
So there is a national safety code that Connecticut actually adopted last year. If it's going to be in an attached garage or in a basement, it has to be on an outside facing wall. And we install a fireproof room around that because we've adopted the federal code.
And to our knowledge, there's never been a fire
Never.
associated with the home battery.
At all.
You might have read about the electric bus that caught fire or an electric car that caught fire. But as far as we know, there hasn't been any home battery system in Connecticut or anywhere in the country that has caught fire.
That's correct.
Do you only do Tesla Powerwalls or do you do other brands?
We do Generac also, and we are going to be doing other brands as
That's the thing to remember. Installers tend to have their favorite products.
Right.
So that list of 10, you won't find any installer that has all 10. So
Right.
you might have to shop around if you have a preference.
Are you doing ground mounted?
Our company does not do ground mounts, but there are companies that do.
I had a question about how much space does a typical battery need also. Does it you showed a few photographs, but it was hard to tell what was what. They were just some boxes on the wall. And isn't there other equipment that's needed to go with that in order to get that power to your household?
So every house is custom and every job is custom. So if you'd like, you could sign up there and we could talk about what it would look like for you. I know that you live in a condo, so unfortunately for you, I don't believe that can't be an option for your specific space.
Yeah.
Other things that run. like
Inverter or-
Batteries are DC, so you have to. convert
Yep,
them.
that's correct, what I say.
That's additional.
And that's why they have to be in addition to a solar system. So the battery has to work with an installed solar system together.
That's additional space and it's something else that
They're-
runs.
They're not particularly big, it's maybe like a small suitcase,
There you go.
not even as thick, I don't think.
There's a picture of some on the town website, I think.
There should be there's some pictures on here, so we'll share this and you can take a look. Also, if you go on, I'll get to you in a minute, Mr. First Selectman. That Energy Sage site that I mentioned, you can go on there and click on any brand and they will give you the specs. So the actual dimensions of each product, the warranties and other information to find out about sizes and things like that. So in the back row.
No, just, I'm just curious what you're seeing with, people with PowerSmart. They're selling back 80% of what has been stored during the day.
Up to 80% during those specified periods.
But is that on, like, so would you sell it back and then have to have to go on to the grid, at some point during the night? Is that to actually, if you've got air conditioning on during the summer, whatever, you're charging up during the day and then at night you're selling back.
I can answer that for you if you like.
Go ahead.
Would you? So I find it easy to think of your battery almost like a vase that fills with water. The solar panels collect the energy from the sun, it fills up your battery. If the utility company is going to drain that battery over a course of 5 hours, they're never going to drain it past 20%. And they'll only do it with your permission. And they'll never do it if there's a weather event within 48 hours. So the way it would work at night anyway, when you have solar and a battery system, you're drawing from the grid at night.
Oh, okay, so you are not ever drawing from your own battery.
You can, that is an option with some systems as well. It's another benefit. You can do that. But you get to make that determination. And again, it's custom to the home and what your needs are.
So, but you do draw from your own battery. But that's definitely not, and that
Yes.
you're always going to have that resilience.
Yes, and also outside of the periods that are specified in the program, you're free to use it for yourself. So if that vase is full, you can use it at night to, use the power that you generated during the day when the sun is shining.
Right.
Can this be done automatically?
You can power it through an app on your phone. You get to make decisions as to what.
That may not be what he asked.
I'm sorry. Well,
But yes, you can make arrangements as simply as through your phone, but you could probably set it manually.
So when you sell it back at 80%, let's say, that portion that you generate that you don't use, that you currently sell back to UI, that goes away?
I don't understand what you're asking. Do you understand? I'm not.
Yeah, I think the remaining
You produce
percent you could.
100 watts, let's say, and I use 50.
Mhm.
I sell back 50 watts to UI.
Mhm.
If I take the batteries and say, all right, come in and bring me down to 80% or whatever you said it was.
Mhm.
That 50% that I sell to the UI goes away. I don't get it from both ends.
Right.
Correct, because it's a physical, it's the energy. So either you're saving it, you're using it, or you're selling it. Is that clear?
I like it from both ends.
Sure you will.
I think these are, a lot of the questions I think are appropriate to ask the installer.
Right.
Yes.
And you can work with several if you want and ask them and they can give you better answers because they, like these guys, they deal with it day in, day out.
Right.
How do you
Information
ask
is
a
never bad.
question?
All
How do
information.
you ask a question?
We have a question online, I think.
Yeah. Are we supposed to be seeing something on the screen now?
Are you
No.
not seeing anything?
No.
Sorry about that. But we're now in the question and answer mode, so the screen is not necessarily relevant to what the questions are.
Yeah, but I wondered if you were showing something at the Wanna same come to this? time. I didn't know.
Okay, you could, there you are here. So,
Okay,
so
so who was asking the
I
question?
think Joyce was.
Joyce?
Yes,
Okay, do you have a question?
I'm going to talk to an installer because I couldn't follow everything that you were saying during the
Okay,
program.
that's a good idea. And actually,
And-
as I mentioned, we'll be putting this on the website. So you can look at it, take your time and investigate some of the links, but we do encourage people to talk to installers like our friends
Yeah,
here.
because I couldn't write down the email addresses and the,
Yeah, you'll get
That's
all of
enough.
that. And actually, the library can send you a copy of this.
Yes, absolutely.
So we've done that in the past, and that way you'll have it easily. You don't even have to search on the web for it. So all the
wonderful.
links, all the
Wonderful.
emails you'll have.
Thank you.
Joyce.
Do we have any other questions from the people online?
Just repeat the question, because
I will.
no, we can't hear.
Right, I don't know why she's not coming. She was asking about getting more information.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions in.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, we have one in the middle there. Okay, keep it short. All right, so we have about 5 or 10 minutes, but
Value of the rebate discount, yes, so diminishes as the program grows. You have three layers. When do you expect that next year to hit?
okay, so the question is that the rebate schedule for the upfront incentive is scheduled to decline over time. And it really depends when they hit the volume. It's carved out, so many megawatts of residential, and the commercial side is, as I said, is way ahead of the residential. So they're already kind of reaching their first tier max, and the PURA decision is going to put the commercial program on hold in mid-year of 2024. But yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
They probably see now months, weeks, years.
Oh, it'll definitely be many, many months, I think, before the first tier is consumed. Again, these are questions I would ask the Green Bank because they're a co-administrator, or the utilities who also jointly run the program, so UI or Eversource. But I did give the link for the contact at the Green Bank in email, but you can check with them. And I think they post their progress too, but the installers should know, and you won't get a surprise that, oh, you should have acted yesterday because now we've dropped it. But you should know that the incentives are scheduled to decline over time. So if you want the max incentive, it's important to act sooner than later. Okay, if there are no other questions, anybody is free to stop and talk directly to us, but we thank you all for coming. We're grateful that it didn't snow today like it did a couple of weeks ago when we had this planned. But we encourage you to ask any questions, and if you want to learn more from the Green Bank, we'll post the information for the February 22nd virtual info session. And hopefully, as the weather gets nicer, we'll actually have a live tour of some homes in Fairfield, and you could see with your own eyes what the battery systems look like and the solar looks like, and ask your neighbors about it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yep. I don't know how to stop this.
You probably.
Thank you. But there's others that are.
So, yeah, do we move?
Mary, Mary,
Yes,
you look wonderful on TV.
thank you. Thank you, Joyce. I'll see you soon. Thank you for
Okay.
coming, everyone.
Take care. Bye now.